When Kobe and I decided to create a podcast and coined it the Father Son Podcast, most would feel this is a gimmick for the podcast, and that couldn't be further from the truth. From the day Kobe was born, I introduced him to video games. This was a way of life for me, as I can remember my father buying me the Odyssey home system, where the cellophane field that clung to the TV determined what game you were playing. Kobe's love for video games grew, as did the bond of a father and a son. When I introduced him to online play, his world opened to new heights. He learned quickly that the incredible gaming experience wasn't just something shared between a father and a son, but there was an entire world that shared his passion for gaming. Gaming was just part of his upbringing, as school or sports was. We always made arrangements that a video game experience was just an arm's length away, even when we went on vacation. As Kobe got older, our experience took us to the road, experiencing events like the Great E3 to more modern events like Summer Game Fest, the Xbox Experience, IGN, and PAX. Kobe graduated from college and now works in the video game industry on the Xbox team. So, as you can see, it was nothing but natural progression to now share our experience and love of the industry through our podcast. Now sit back and enjoy the ride.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome to the Father and Son Gaming Podcast right here on Active Reload Gaming. My name is Kobe, aka Kobe127. That is Kevin, aka Octane699. Dad, how you doing? And we're going to get to our special guest here in 2 seconds.
Not too bad. Super excited to have Ryan Ellis, professional NASCAR driver, on our podcast. Been talking about him for quite some time. And also, I would just want to announce that we have a new sponsor for today, Richmar Florist, which we'll talk a little bit about later on. I'm representing the NASCAR Richmar Florist team. Ryan Ellis races for him. So, Ryan, how are you doing?
Tired as always. I know,
Muted.
obviously, you're a father yourself. I have 2 young children you might hear in the background off and on. So, apologies in advance for that. But between that and a red-eye flight 2 days ago, pretty gassed.
Yeah, I hear. How old are the children?
7 months and 4 years old.
Oh,
So
wow. Okay.
got a little bit of a gap there. But yeah, the 7-month one is obviously that's the reason for the time.
Well,
And where are you
to be
flying
honest
from?
with you, that's what kind of makes this such a
Awesome.
unique podcast, because as you saw in our intro, I've been a gamer, brought him up gaming, part of his life. I'm part of his life in gaming, works at Xbox. It's pretty cool. So that's why we kind of decided to start this type of podcast, because it's unique.
Yeah, it's a great way to bond as a family. Obviously, my 4-year-old's already playing Mario Kart.
Amazing.
So she fits right in.
Nice.
Yeah.
Are you playing the new Mario Kart on Switch 2 or an older edition? Awesome.
That was my random thank you gift to the wife for putting up with all the chaos of the season.
Always got to keep the wife happy.
Plays that thing.
You know what I mean?
Oh, my God, yeah. I don't do a good job of that enough. So every now and then got to bribe her with a Switch 2 or something.
There you go.
That's
There you
awesome. And there are some people in the chat saying hello to Bombay, hello to Cherry Tomato Boy from Japan, and Nate Edwards says, "What's up, boys? What is good to each and every one of you?" But before we continue with the rest of this podcast, I would like to remind each and every one of you that this is Active Reload Gaming. You can follow all of our socials right here. You can see them in the middle. On Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok, we are at Active Reload Gaming. Along with Blue Sky, we are at Active Reload Gaming. And then Twitter or X and Twitch, we are at Active Rel. That is with an REL, Active Rel Gaming. We are live every Monday, 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific, with the Father and Son Gaming Podcast, along with doing some gaming streams throughout the week, just like on Friday, where we got to check out NASCAR 25. We became professional race car drivers in an hour and a half, and there was a lot.
I drove as Ryan Ellis, just to let you know.
Yeah,
I'm sorry. Yeah, not the most fun.
I still beat him though.
Yeah.
I beat him.
it's tied 3-3.
Oh,
As we move on, and from that, like I said, we do some interesting things along the week as well. So once again, Ryan, thank you for joining this podcast for today. We're going to start getting into some questions just about your life, racing, being in NASCAR 25, being in a sports game, there's a lot of questions, but as always, we start the podcast off with, what are you playing? It's a gaming podcast. You talked about Mario Kart. So who are you maining in Mario Kart? And is there anything else that you've been playing recently?
So I've only played the new one a few times, and I'm upset that they didn't put Tanuki Mario in there because that was my go-to. So kind of just figuring out who I gel with there. Outside of that, that's pretty much just me and the wife to play that. Doing a little bit of Call of Duty, downloaded Battlefield, but just because of the long race weekend, have not gotten that yet. So TBD, might try that out, I guess, in an hour or two. Not sure how that game is played out yet. So a little bit of Ready or Not, if you're familiar with that, but mostly Call of Duty throughout my life.
Yeah, I just got Ready or Not since it released on console. I've been waiting to play with my friends. But yeah, over the weekend, I had put 27 hours.
27 hours in Battlefield, just a little too much.
I said I'm not doing anything else this weekend. I am vegging out, and my boys and I, we played Battlefield, and Battlefield's back. I absolutely love it so far. If you're like a fan of 3 and 4, this is going to be for you. It is an amazing experience, and the multiplayer is just popping off.
Well, Call of Duty definitely got stale. I mean, it took a long time for it to get stale for me, but over the last 2 or 3 months, it was like, I think I can't do this crap anymore. So,
you don't like Beavis and Butthead running around?
Yeah, right.
The idea with COD,
to that, but yeah, it just felt the same for 4 or 5 years, whatever it was.
Yeah.
The idea with COD, what they got to do is they got to give it a rest. Like, it can't come out every year. Let it marinate for a year or two. Get people ready for the next one. But when you produce them every year and come out, they're going to get stale. How much more can you do? And to me, I think they ought to go back to a World War II, because that's when, like, I loved
with that.
Call of Duty 2 was one of my favorite Call of Duties. I know everybody goes to the Modern Warfare 2, which is mine too, but go back. Let's use the modern tech, the modern graphics. Let's do a brand new, Call of Duty World War II.
That might be my favorite too.
Yeah.
It's whichever one has like a silo map in it.
The silo.
Was like one of my favorites. That might be it.
Yeah, I mean, there's another game that's been out for quite a while. Have you ever played Hell Let Loose? Hell Let Loose is like a World War II. That game is pretty fire. It's a World War II kind of simulator, very realistic. It's very slow compared to Call of Duty and Battlefield, but it definitely scratches that World War II gaming itch that I have every now and then. And they're releasing a new one next year. It's a Vietnam Hell Let Loose version, so that'd be interesting to see play out. That's cool. Are you excited for Black Ops 7?
Not yet. I've like stayed out of the Call of Duty world because I saw wall running and stuff. I'm like, man, I wanted to go the other, like you guys were just saying. I'm like, I like slide canceling around and running around big, but I didn't want to go that way. I'd rather it be a little bit more realistic, which I think Battlefield, like the timing is perfect.
Oh, 100%. And I think you're going to find a lot to love there with how realistic Battlefield is. Like they cut out the crap from Call of Duty. I know a lot of people, I joked about Beavis and Butthead, but people are burnt out on the skins, all the wall running, the futuristic. Battlefield is that grounded, fast-paced multiplayer lobbies that people have been anticipating. And also the destruction. Just going around destroying the whole map is so fun.
Yeah, if they got rid of the destruction, I don't know what we would do at this point, because that's the selling point, I think.
One of the coolest part when I played the beta is that if you're in Call of Duty and somebody's on a second floor sniping, and then they have somebody at the staircase taking you out as you're coming up. That scenario happened in the beta, and we were able to go underneath the bottom floor, throw a C4 up and blow the floor out and bring the sniper down on top. That's just super cool. There's just really realistic. But I got to ask one thing about kind of going back to your Mario Kart. Do you come out high and go in low into the turns there? Do you use it?
No, I just do that stupid drifting thing the entire time. Yeah. Our engagement party was a Mario Kart bracket. So that's kind of ties back to the start of our relationship. And yeah, it's hard to go wrong with Mario Kart.
100%. And Mario Kart World is a great game. I like the tracks, and I will say, before we move into the actual interview, this iteration of Rainbow Road is one of my favorites. That first time that I hit Rainbow World in Mario Kart World, I was like, holy crap, it's it's such a visual feast, and it plays so incredibly well, especially like as you start like gliding through the rings, going into different parts of it. It was so cool.
Yeah, it feels very modernized. It doesn't feel like they just recycled the same stuff time after time like it has, in other iterations.
I have one question. Are you a Xbox, PlayStation, obviously Nintendo, or PC player, or all of them?
I started out Xbox. No, I started out PlayStation, went Xbox on the 360, stayed over on that side. My wife has a PlayStation and the Switch, and I have the PC now. So mostly PC, but can't play NHL on PC. I can't play the NASCAR game, I don't think, on PC.
Not yet. It comes out in November.
So
yeah.
So still have to go in the living room occasionally.
Because Kobe and I, we just get everything, so it doesn't matter to us. PCs, new Xboxes, PlayStations, new Nintendos. We're a full-fledged gaming household. Even though he lives in Seattle because he works at Xbox, and I live on the East Coast in Pennsylvania. So, but we still get together. We're hoping that this week we can stream and fight against each other in Battlefield. So that might be the telltale right there.
That'd be really cool. That'd be awesome.
But
well, I would like to start moving into the actual interview. And first off, I think for everyone here, and Nate Edwards says double dash all day for Mario Kart. So for everyone here, I'd like to get to know a little bit more about you. And Dad, I know you had a few questions, just kind of about like personal racing career, stuff like that.
Yeah, I'm just going to start off. We're going to talk a little bit of NASCAR. I have like 3 or 4 questions, but that people want to hear the gaming side of you, because the thing I've been touting since you were coming on, I said, everybody knows you as a NASCAR racer, but we do want to get to know the gamer behind the NASCAR racer, because you could be known for something other than a father and a NASCAR racer. So that's what we kind of pull out. But there are some questions I have for my own edification of NASCAR racing. Like, what first inspired you to get into racing?
So my dad raced, and both of my grandfathers raced. So I pretty much grew up at a racetrack, and that's all I've ever wanted to do. I've had normal jobs because our sport's so financially motivated, in the sense of needing to find sponsorship or just being personally wealthy. So it's I have had normal jobs when sponsorship's gotten a little rough in the past, and know that just reinforced the fact that I'm like, I can't do anything other than this. I'm willing to work as hard as I need to make this a sustainable life, because I have zero passion for in terms of a career or anything else outside of racing. All I care about is making sure I can do that as long as I possibly can, and trying to get better every day.
Yeah, but when you grow up that it's in your blood like that, it's kind of tough because with me, I'm like 5th generation of sales marketing. Like, it's kind of tough to break away from that family industry. Kobe, we broke away, and
I broke the mold.
He broke the mold, but you saw, the story, and that's why we run that story ahead of time, that, we kind of cultivated Kobe to become what he wants to be. And so he broke away from that. But yeah, that's a great, inspiring, story of how you got into racing. I think this next question I have, that I ask a lot of people this, because I think there's a common thread, whether you're a NASCAR racer or you work at Walmart or whatever. I think this next question is a really good common thread. But, how do you stay motivated through a tough season? That's a tough thing.
I think it's easy for us in our sport, because after a good race, I can kind of let it ride for a day. Sundays I reset with my family and literally just hardly look at my phone and hop on, play a few games at the end of the day. But I don't know, I just live this stuff so much, and there aren't many sports where you're just slotted a position, which is basically a score after every single event.
Correct.
So even when you have a good race for a team like ours, which might be 18th or 15th or 12th, it's still not first. So it's just you're a little bit closer to where you want to be every single week. You only get 33 shots a year in our season, so it's so easy for me to stay motivated. I think the second I get complacent, it's not meant to be this motivational talk. It's the second I get complacent, there are so many people working hard to get to where I'm at that I'm constantly running from the end of my career, and I've seen it. So I'm ready to just put my head down and make it last as long as I possibly can.
Sure. So family has a lot to do with staying motivated in a tough season.
Yeah, I have half the amount of time I used to have with the kids, in the sense of, like free time, now that I have 2 kids, and I'd probably work twice as hard, just because I know that it'd be a very selfish thing if I were continuing to try to make this work for myself and putting them in jeopardy.
Sure. Of course, you could see with me, family's everything, So I get that. And I could see how family can either ease, de-stress. There's a lot of things that family could do that I think we could all reach back into and
Oh
be
yeah.
inspired by our family and cut out some of the noise. And this isn't one of my questions, but do you really pay attention to social media much? Or,
No,
as a professional, you got to block that out.
I'm the worst. Like, I don't think that's a question. I feel like, I mean, my best friend in the sport lost his job today, and I found out like by an hour after everybody else did, just because I didn't open Twitter like the first 5 hours of my day or anything. And
Wow.
I'm always out of the loop on the drama of the sport and everything else, and I don't really read mentions. I don't really check my phone. I mean, in general, outside of like the sales stuff, I got 4,500 emails or text messages I missed on this phone. Just look. So I try to just live in the moment.
It's good to stay
And
disconnected.
yeah. Oh my God. Yeah. I never meant to be this disconnected, but I somehow committed.
Yeah,
Ryan, I admire that, and I wish I could be more like that, to be honest with you. Because I'm carrying 2 phones. I'm constantly connected. You can ask my wife, she yells at me, my phone's going off at 2 o'clock in the morning, and I gotta answer it or I gotta text back. Like, it's just, I admire that.
Well,
yeah, and even me, like being in the gaming sphere, it's like I am on Twitter way too much sometimes, and I'm like, I need to stay off because it's like I see people complaining about one thing or the other, and it's like this isn't good for the mental well being. Let me get out of here, and I have to put Twitter away. I put my phone to the side. I'm like, all right, that's enough social media for today.
yeah, I think it's such a blessing to be as busy as I am, because it makes the rest of the world seem like it doesn't matter as much. Like with everything that, the chaos that is happening in the world, it's like, man, I'm so caught up in my own bubble that if
Yeah,
I have enough insanity and sanity just in this world to not even hear any of the distractions outside of it.
yeah.
All right. Another question. Do drivers from different teams ever share advice or insights?
Yes and no. Like, I have my friends that I work with, in the sense of like we might ask a little bit of business advice back and forth, because it is so much, like 40 hours a week at least working on sponsorship stuff and marketing decks and sales pitches. But on track stuff, we still might bounce a few ideas off each other. And I think I work with the elder statesmen of the NASCAR garage. Like, I have my
Okay.
friends that have been around I've known for probably 15, 20 years at least. And I work helping those guys out because we don't have a lot of resources being on smaller teams. But
Sure.
if we knew we were racing against each other if we knew the next race we're going to race each other the whole time, probably going to be a little bit more silent.
Yeah. I didn't know if there was this big wall that, hey, we're competitors now that the season started, and, you walk with blinders on and don't talk. I didn't know if there was any sharing back and forth.
It can be weird because I've had races where you're racing like your best friends, but you're fighting for your job. And like,
Sure.
if you're not gonna remind them of that, they're gonna remind you of it in the race. And um, I've definitely been taken advantage more on the track and like laid over a few times, thinking I'd get things paid back, and have not. So my team's very hard on me about making sure that friendships are separate at the racetrack once we actually have the engine started.
Sure.
Oh.
It's almost like in football with 2 brothers playing against each other on opposite sides of the field.
Oh yeah.
You're competitors during that 3 hours, but you're brothers when you walk out off the field. So, and
Yes.
I have one last question of the technical stuff, of the, NASCAR stuff, and then Kobe can get in. Are there any rule or technology changes you would like to see happen in the sport of NASCAR?
There's not a lot of technology in general in our sport, but man, if we could delete the little bit that there is, it would be nice. we often get out of the race car and we have actually, if I could get rid of anything, it'd be our simulators, because that I hate those. But yeah, if we could get rid of like the engineering data, it takes the driving ability away, the natural like feel in your, literally just the feel you have in your butt of what the car needs, and that's like the most raw way to find speed, I feel like, in our sport. So now you get out of the car and it's like if you're in the gas a tenth of a second longer, make your turn in 6 feet later, and like all these little things, it kind of takes the creativity out of the sport and it's more robotic. But yeah, I'm not a simulator guy at all. As much as I love video games, like that thing behind me is the bane of my existence. So
Well, again, it's just like they say, AI, oh, it's all this stuff and all this technology. But at the end of the day, human intuition, they'll never be able to create an AI that takes the human intuition into play. So I get that. You know the feel of your car better than that computer that's looking at an algorithm to say, hey, this is what you should do. So I can see that, and I never thought of it through the eyes of that. But
at least for a few years, I got a few years on this before the AI takes over.
sure.
Don't we all? But yeah, I do have a quick question, because I know from the stream on Friday when we were playing NASCAR, we had some F1 fans in the chat. From a technical standpoint of the vehicle, when you're driving, I don't know how much you know, but where does the NASCAR car differ from like an F1 car in terms of like the technicality behind it? Is there like a lot of crossover? Like, could you hop in an F1 car right now and drive it perfectly, or is there like a lot of engineering differences between the two?
There's no right answer, but they're our cars are more archaic, which I think both F1 drivers and NASCAR drivers would say, like, the less technology you have, the more creativity you can have in the car. The less driver assist, the more the driver matters. However, like on the F1 side, I'm too old, man. I can't do that. They're so nimble and fast. They're like fighter pilots, and our cars handle like school buses. Like, they're terrible. They're so hot. They're miserable. And I couldn't do what they could do, and I'd like to think they couldn't handle our school buses, but I think it's just a similar but different sport, kind of like field hockey and ice hockey. But yeah, I know that I am past my prime for F1. I've still got another 10 years left, probably in NASCAR, though. Thank God.
Nice.
Bombay in our chat says F1 cars can turn right with an emoji with the tongue face sticking out.
Yeah. No, we do a lot of road course races now. That's my background, the left and right corners. But ours literally feel like you're like riding a bull. Like, they're not meant to do anything well except for just go fast in a straight line. So when they're trying to stop, they feel terrible. Trying to turn, they feel terrible. But that's part of the fun, I think.
Yeah. I grew up, I'm about 25 minutes from the Tricky Triangle in the Poconos. So I grew up here. So I've always been around the NASCAR up here.
Yeah, the Poconos, it's a fast track. I haven't had any luck there in a long time, but it's a fun place.
And
Nice.
my girlfriend is from the Midwest, and she keeps wanting to take me to the Indy 500 at some point. She's like, you need to experience it, man. She's like, it's so much fun. So I definitely do want to check it out at some point and just get the thrill of the race.
That's a checklist race for me. I only have like 2 races I actually want to see as a fan, and that's definitely one of them. That and Monaco. F1.
Monaco.
Yeah.
But I would like to get out to Vegas as they do more F1 races. We missed the first F1 because I'm out there. I'm a Raiders fan. So we were out there, and it was probably 2 weeks before it happened. We missed it, but we watched them setting it up. So I'd like to get out to Vegas and see one.
It's cool, and I don't know how many years they've got left in that deal, but
Wasn't it a
anytime
5-year?
you get 3 races, cool.
I think it was a 5-year.
I can't keep up with our sport. I know we did the race in downtown Chicago. That was so cool. And we're doing a race in San Diego. Yeah, next year on the Navy base. So
Nice.
That'll be really, really cool. Anytime you can just do something outside the norm, I think it brings in new fans.
Yeah, I agree.
Awesome. I agree. But before we move into the rest of the interview, I just want to take a quick word from our sponsors, Richmar Florist, and tell you about our website. So we will be right back.
Need flowers fast? Visit richmarflorist.com, your trusted local florist since 1955. Just go to richmarflorist.com. Browse stunning arrangements for any occasion and click Shop Now. Pick your bouquet, add a message, and we'll handle the rest with same-day local delivery available. Fast, fresh, and beautiful. Order now at richmarflorist.com.
Got games you don't play anymore? Turn that collection into cash at ActiveReloadGaming.com. It's fast, it's easy, and you get paid quick. Or if you are looking to buy, check us out on eBay or scroll through our Games by console. Find us at ActiveReloadGaming.com.
And we are back. So being that we are a gaming podcast, I have a lot of gaming questions for you, especially you're in a sports game now. So I do want to start with that, which is, what does it mean to you to see your likeness, car, and branding in a major sim racing title? Like, how gratifying is that for you? We checked it out on the Friday stream when we were playing NASCAR 25, and to everyone watching, NASCAR 25 is officially released today. So if you want to get your own copy, it's on Xbox and PlayStation at the moment, and it comes in 2 weeks on the PC platform. But yeah, Ryan, what does that mean to you to finally see yourself in a game?
Yeah, like, I think the first video game I was in was NASCAR Heat Evolution. I don't know if it was 1 or 2. That game, I'm probably sure I'm not supposed to say it, but it was bad. It was really, really bad. The first one. So I played and I'm like, this is really cool. Like a dream come true, because I wasn't a trading card kid. It was always like, man, that would be cool to be in a video game. Yeah, that kind of sucked that time because I didn't want to play it. But this one's good. Like, it's a good racing video game. It was fun to play. Tried to get my 4-year-old to play it. She had zero interest, so gonna have to try to pick it up again here soon. It's just cool, and it's so cool for our sponsors to be able to be in a game and have their kids and employees play as like their car. So overall, just awesome.
Yeah, so I know, so the game is developed by iRacing, and I want to know, how did you get involved? Like, how were you approached to be featured in this game? Or is it something that is like already part of the contract that you signed with NASCAR, where it's like, okay, they can use my likeness forever? Or did iRacing like approach you specifically saying, hey, we want to put you in the Xfinity series for this game?
It's a good question, because the story I have is probably different than everybody else. I kept seeing the drivers like post their I don't know, them at the shop playing it, because I know the iRacing people stopped by and gave them a test run. I'm like, I don't know if they don't have my number or what happened. But I'm like, my shop's in Florida, so I'm in North Carolina, so it's pretty far. I wasn't going to go there, and I just figured eventually I was going to get to try it. But I didn't get to try it till yesterday morning. So I didn't have any conversation other than approving some assets. Was interested to see what I was going to be ranked as, and that was terrible. So that's kind of ruined my want to promote the game, in the sense of like, hey, everybody get this game, like check out this screenshot. I'm like, man, we got to fix that first. So yeah, I wish they did the same system they do in like Madden or NHL or all the games I've played, where it's like, if you're in the minor leagues, you get this, and like they're kind of bracketed, but for, they have the Cup Series, ARCA Truck, us, everybody has the same ranking. So I'm like, man, I'm ranked lower than people who have probably only raced a car 3 times in their life. What is going on here?
Well, so if it makes you feel any better, every year I hear NFL people complaining about their number that they get. Oh, yeah. So every year somebody's complaining about it. So, there's flaws in it.
In NHL, though, man, the guy that's like a 50, whatever I was like, they can't skate, like they can't stand up. So like, I was like, I think I'm going to just get in the car and put it in reverse or something. I don't know what's going on.
Different currency when you look at NHL.
They just got to work the system a little bit, where it's like Cup, Xfinity, Truck, a little bit here or there. And I can't be showing my kids that I'm terrible in the game.
So did you get a chance to play as yourself in the game, like drive your own car?
Yeah, I don't know why I did that, because I would rather just wreck me. So next time I play, I'm going to just pick somebody else. So I just wrecked everybody that's like been rude to me this year. I literally, with my daughter, I'm like, oh, this guy gave daddy a mean finger last race. This guy did something mean to daddy 2 weeks ago. So we just took our anger out on them in the video game.
That's great.
That's funny. When we were playing NASCAR, he had beef with me for no reason. He was bumper carring me into the sides, and I'm like, "What are you doing?" So, but yeah. So my question to you is then, as we're getting more into the game, from your perspective, what are the hardest things to translate from a real NASCAR race to a video game? You know, physics, feel, etc. Now that you got your chance to put your hands on the sticks and play it, do you think the actual races translated correctly, or do you think it's still missing a little bit of something?
It's always going to miss something. Just, I mean, even iRacing, like the 50% of driving a race car is the feel. Like I was
Yeah.
saying earlier, it doesn't matter if you're in a simulator at the Chevy Tech Center, running like $1 million simulator, or the one that's sitting behind me, or playing in a controller, you're never going to have the feel. And just like if you were to play Madden or NHL or whatever, like you don't have consequences. So like that kind of stuff, obviously a good thing you don't have.
Yeah.
The heat is miserable in our race cars. The amount of calories we burn, but really it's just like, I think the idea of when you get loose in a car, you feel it. Like it's all very visual in a video game. And then obviously the wall riding and the silly things that people can do to find speed. Like I can't just go and crash into somebody and destroy them and then go on to win the race 20 feet later. So
Yeah.
hopefully they can get the damage better, kind of leaning on Battlefield there and, blowing walls
Yeah.
off. That would be cool because I used to love just turning around backwards on NASCAR games and destroying the field. So gotta make
Yeah.
that
That'd be sick. So then I guess my question is like, so you're talking about destruction and stuff. The actual physics of the handling of the car, is there anything that could be improved upon? There's so many simulation titles out there, and with NASCAR 25 in particular, do you think they nailed the actual feeling like as best as you can from, in real life to a video game?
I think so. Just looking at, honestly, I've watched more of the game than I've played because I played 2 4-lap races. That's all my daughter had the capacity to watch. But we were on very easy mode. Like I tried to turn everything on. But it looked like they actually had things very, very similar to real life because obviously iRacing is a great job laser scanning every single track out there. So it's going to be the closest it can possibly be.
And for those who are unfamiliar, can you just give like a quick synopsis of who iRacing is? Because I know they're a big name in the racing world.
Yeah, it's they're just the highest technology, mass-produced game simulation out there. So you can hop on that thing, whether you have a cheap steering wheel you found on Craigslist or whatever, like, and just put it on your desk. I think it's a subscription, whether it's $15 a month, and comes with a certain amount of tracks and cars. And we use it to practice a little bit. Like I'll use it to practice pit road and get reacclimated with a track that we might not have seen, and whether it's been 15 years or 6 months. So it helps us a lot just because they literally scan the tracks, like stupid things like, oh, this porta potty is here, lift here. If they move the porta potty when we go out for our first lap of practice, you'll know because people will be missing the corner. At tracks like Chicago that we had never been to because it was a street course that they just made in iRacing. We were firing off into corners at 140 miles an hour. Blind corners, can't see around it, just based off of the knowledge we've learned on simulators. So that's kind of crazy how far that stuff has come.
So in real life, there's those like the porta potty, there's a visual cue for you on the track that's always there.
Yeah, like Chicago, they have the road, like you can actually see the lines in the road, like a crosswalk or something. So you'll go, okay, when I get to this crosswalk, that's my lift point. Pocono, it might be a 4 cones on the wall, 3, 2. It might be the end of a concession stand, and you might see that, like, okay, I can pick the gas up when I get here, and I can see this light pole. So if they change something like that, we'll do track walks and notice that certain like things we picked as our landmarks have disappeared and have to find something new.
So NASCAR will never put in a visual cue somewhere. You're just
they do it. They change it every week. Yeah, they it's like a game for them now. I don't know what they. Yeah, like Charlotte a few weeks ago, they changed 4 or 5 different things. I can't even remember what it was top of mind, but yeah, you just show up and you're like, oh, there's 2 walls here now. That's awesome. It's becoming more like Mario Kart than I would like.
Yeah, it's almost like a golf course changing the cup position.
Yeah, it's like what was it, the last Happy Gilmore movie when they just make it a wild card out there? Yeah.
The next thing is that NASCAR is going to give everyone red shells to just start pitching at each other.
At least I get that. Yeah, give us something. Yeah, we don't need to do like stages if we can shell each other.
That's funny.
So the one thing that I want to home in on a bit, because you talked about it. So the simulator that you have in the back, does iRacing make different simulation software for drivers specifically, or are you all just playing on like the new NASCAR?
Yeah, it's probably an over-engineered form of the new NASCAR game. Probably the same track files and everything, but yeah, like when I log on, often I'll just hop into a hosted session that's hosted just by the main server and race with just random fans. And like you could tell if they know it's a driver in there because I'll just get destroyed and then have to quit out of the lobby eventually. So, or like there's people in there that play that thing all day long. So I'll go on and get my butt kicked and have to just find a different lobby.
So do you ever know that you're racing with another NASCAR professional?
Yeah, because we got like our actual names. Like it goes off of our real names. So often I'll see like when I hop in those sessions, it's usually at least like one other driver that I know that like
That's
racing.
crazy.
So when you're I assume when you're playing the game, do you prefer to use that steering wheel, or would you rather just say, I want to use the sticks right now? Like, do you ever find like
steering wheel? Like 100%. And it's, I try to get as realistic as possible because I have like a direct drive wheel, force feedback as realistic as possible. Just on the other side of my seat there, I've got 2 pairs of shoes because the amount of brake pressure that I have it set at is like realistic.
Interesting.
For a car. So like when I wasn't wearing the shoes while I was driving, I was bruising my foot from the amount of brake force I was using.
Wow.
Yeah, because our cars it requires an insane amount of brake pressure just to get the things to slow down. So
interesting.
Yeah, not trying to break my foot, just making sim laps.
I would think the steering wheel is a lot of muscle memory versus the sticks on a controller.
Yes, yeah. And obviously binary for the most part with like in the NASCAR game, that's really hard for me to get used to is like the throttle being somewhat binary, even though it's got some play in it. It's not the same thing as your foot.
Interesting.
And my one friend before this podcast went live, he wanted me to ask, so if you were to strap on VR goggles, how do you think that would change the flow of the racing simulation genre? Do you think it would make it more true to form if you were to throw in your VR headset rather than having the 3 monitors set up back there?
I'd probably throw up, so that'd be the first thing to be different. But no, I have like an Oculus right there, or whatever. I don't care if it's Oculus or whatever the other one is, the Meta. But I've thought about trying it, but I think that my daughters would like run up and scare the crap out of me while I'm like in there. So that I'm not used to having them run up in the middle of a race. I feel like it'd be really realistic, and it'd probably be, if I could get it right, more realistic, just in the sense that I could actually change what I'm looking at without having to set everything perfectly in the car. I was literally in a practice last week or 3 days ago, trying to like mentally take a picture of what my sight line looked like in the race car to get this simulator better, because I often feel like I'm too close, too far away, too wide of a field of view. And I was like sitting there like, maybe I should take my phone and take a picture. Because it just feels so similar, but just slightly off. And that's kind of the worst thing in the world, if it feels like it's just a tick off and you can't figure out why.
So what's the percentage of simulator time to actual track time that you do?
This week, it'll be 2 laps of sim time probably. And then hopefully a lot more than that in the race. But there's weeks, the Charlotte Roval last week, I probably made 2 to 3 hours of sim time, and that's more than usual for sure. Like I'd say if I do 20 to 40 minutes of simming, that's a lot. But most of the drivers have hours and hours scheduled at Chevy Tech Center, Ford Tech Center, Toyota, and they're there with engineers sitting there telling them what to do. And we're hoping that iRacing is close because tracks change year to year. They don't go back there. So I can almost dial myself out if I make a lot of laps and the track hasn't been scanned in 6 years. Then I'm going 2 or 3 seconds faster than I would be on the weekend. And it just develops a lot of bad habits.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Nate Edwards in the chat asks, who was your favorite driver growing up? Sorry for cutting off right there.
Jeff Gordon, probably. Jeff Gordon or Tony Stewart. So it was like, depending on the age group.
Sure.
Gotcha.
It's like asking basketball fans who's the GOAT. It depends when you grew up.
Yeah. The rainbow car was cool until I was like middle school, high school. And then I was like, Tony Stewart's my guy because he beats people up. So he's cool now.
So when it comes to iRacing developing this game, obviously normal players like myself would give feedback, but when they're developing the actual feel of the game, do you know how much is reliant on actual racer feedback versus gamer feedback? Do you think there is a differentiating factor there?
Yeah, I think so. And I think I've seen him lean on Ty Majeski, William Byron, a couple guys in Cup and Trucks who are like drivers that actually started on iRacing and became race car drivers. So I think they're really, really good to be tied into the sport and tied into the video game. But at the end of the day, it's just like anything else. Like, how realistic do fans really want it to be for it to be a game that's played by the masses? Like, I was playing with my daughter. I'm like, I can't even get the car going because I got to modulate throttle just to take off. And she doesn't know that. She just thinks I go because my Elsa frozen Power Wheels out there doesn't spin the tires. So it's a hard concept to explain. So I'm sure there's a middle ground there, but I feel like they've done a really, really good job of balancing it, not making it a complete racing simulator that you use a controller for, because then you're just making iRacing on Xbox and PlayStation.
And I want to follow up on that, which is, do you think this game will help attract new fans to both NASCAR and simulation racing? Because obviously this is the newest NASCAR entry. So how do you think this is going to help attract new people to the sport and give an appreciation for it?
You guys might have a better pulse on it, but to me, it's about how the streaming community connects with the game. If they can get online multiplayer engagement to where it needs to be, it shouldn't just be played by the community, because I feel like NASCAR fans are going to play it because they're starving for a game, but it needs to have viral moments and have some big streamers play it, which I think they're so set on their Call of Duties and Fortnite and those types of games that I don't see how it would work, but you never know. Hopefully it does. Video games were a massive part of my life growing up, and we got to make NASCAR cool again as much as we can.
Well, and now I'm curious, based on that, because we're also in the streaming world as well, do you know of any sponsors behind the scenes who are actively seeking out streamers who try to promote this game and play a few races? And like, do you see these sponsors even having like race car drivers maybe get involved with some streamers to like do duo races, have them chat, something like this? Do you see that happening at all to kind of promote this?
It'd probably have to be a mutual sponsor between the driver and the streamer, or like NASCAR paying for it. And I think they'd want to find the right driver for that. And I'm probably not that right guy. It probably is like a William Byron or a younger kid. And a lot of NASCAR drivers stream themselves. So I think there'd be a lot of connectivity there. But it's hard to say. I almost had a Tim the Tatman car a few years ago, and unfortunately,
that would have been awesome.
Yeah, they couldn't do it because AT&T was his big sponsor, and we were in the Xfinity series. So
gotcha.
Like little stuff like that. Our sport's so corporate that you just can't ever tell, because maybe they're sponsored by this company and drivers sponsored by that and NASCAR sponsored by that, and there's just like so many different conversations that need to be had just to play a game, which sucks, obviously.
Because we had in prior podcasts, we had professional streamers on. That's what they do for a living, is they stream these games. And one of the conversations we had with him was how more involved, the corporate world is getting into helping or getting to them to promote their games. And it becomes, that's their living, where they're getting these sponsors to promote it. But as Kobe mentioned, like, we haven't seen, at least in our world, haven't seen NASCAR or iRacing or whatever, corporate you want to put in there say, hey, we're going to get this game out to a very well-known streamer or whatever to help promote this. Because to us, what we see is that's what's getting the younger crowd. Every industry, I don't care what it is, every industry needs the youth, because that's what keeps you growing, and that's what keeps. I don't care if you're Macy's or Walmart or you're NASCAR or NFL. You need the younger crowd to get in to keep the sport or the business going. And I see the big turn with corporations, and I'm in marketing, I understand this, corporations saying, we can't tap into this youth anymore because they don't watch regular TV, they don't read newspapers, they don't listen to radio. They're either, on their phone or playing games. How do we tap into these people? Because in the marketing world, 25 hasn't looked more different than 54 in my entire lifetime. Now they're two different generations, and you can't go after that 54-year-old the way you go after a 25-year-old. So that's why that question came in there. When Kobe and I were talking about the questions, I thought that was valid because I don't see iRacing or NASCAR trying to tap into that 25 and under generation of the gaming to get them out to the sport. Because like anything, you can watch it on TV, but nothing's like being out at the actual event.
Yeah.
That's different for any sport that you put in there. And that's the end goal, is to get that person to taste your product and then become a fan.
Yeah, and I think it's easier for them to get those types to connect with iRacing because it's just so different, and they can build their craft and get better at it. I've seen athletes get into iRacing and like all different types of sports, and their competitive nature comes out there. So I feel like if NASCAR were to do it, they would use this video game as kind of a gateway to bring people into iRacing and then create those viral moments, because it's all about clips, right? So like, it's not, like if they can get those Instagram reels, those 5, 8, 20-second highlight reels with some influencers, I think they're going to be getting some wins. But I just don't see how it would happen with this game, because we're playing a sport that also takes 3 hours to do. And that's half of the problem with NASCAR right now, is outside of us destroying each other or wall riding, the one time that happened, it's hard to get highlights in our sport.
Sure. Interesting.
And you hit the nail on the head. Like even with our podcasts, our live podcasts, they're great, but where we get our views is 100% on the shorts or the reels, or like that's just the industry. Everybody wants things quick and easy. They don't want to sit down and watch a long form of anything anymore.
Yeah. If it's not exciting in the first 2 seconds, they're not even 2 seconds, half a second, they're immediately scrolling.
Yeah, it's how TikTok has trained our brains at this point. It's just that short form content. I do have a question from chat, a bit of a fun one. Bombay asks, does having to drive and think about driving for a living impact you wanting to drive in your personal life?
No, I've gotten this question more in the last week or two than I have in probably 6 months prior, which is so funny.
Wow.
I equate it to Apollo. And no, that's a skater. I'm trying to think. Usain Bolt. Like, yeah, he runs, but I don't think if you like caught him at a grocery store, he's just sprinting up and down the aisles. There's walking and there's running and there's just driving. And for me, like, it's I definitely don't drive like that everywhere. It's way too much work. First off, but it's expensive. Got too many tickets growing up. Happy to have my 2 kid seats in the back and just drive like an old man everywhere. And I think Alex Bowman or somebody had Ryan Blaney had a cooler answer. He was like, I get paid to drive fast. Why would I pay to drive fast in the sense of tickets?
Exactly.
But in the reality, it's just like, man, I'm not in a rush. Like, no point. 90 doesn't feel that fast after you're just going 190. So
correct.
I'll just go 10 over, be safe.
So we all get, when you're carrying your cell phone for a while, we'll all get that phantom vibration. You know how you get it, but you don't have your phone. So when you're driving your daughters, you don't get the phantom earpiece thinking you're hearing saying that the top side's open. You don't hear that. Like,
no, the weirdest thing, I don't think I've said this on a podcast before or anything, because it's a weird thing to say that people can't relate. I raced for 12 or 13 years before I'd ever driven a street car. So like,
interesting.
Wow.
Yeah, because I'd started when I was 4. So it was always like, just there's so many things embedded in me that I just never knew. The first time the blue lights turned on behind me was like, I just committed to the gas. Like, it was like, oh, we're going. Like I can escape. And I was like, oh God, no, that is not what we're supposed to be doing here. And I was just driving like a Pontiac, whatever. I didn't get
That's
into
not a
awesome.
pace car behind you.
Yeah, I didn't commit. It took me probably a second or two to realize, like, oh, like that's, I don't know, like there should be no attribution between racing and obviously that, but immediately my brain was just like, oh, take off, like go. So
Well, you were in first place, so it
yeah,
counts at the end of the day.
yeah, I didn't finish there though. He did, yeah.
So I kind of want to go back because you were talking about how like NASCAR is like not exciting like it because it's long races and like people are looking for clips. And I think a great way for people to get into the sport is obviously a video game. Now, that being said, how do you balance the spectacle of a video game versus the realism that is aimed at both casual gamers and hardcore race sims? Because like obviously, you see these gaming clips with Call of Duty Battlefield. It's like, oh my God, I did this. And like, that's part of the spectacle of it. Like, you're not getting a lot of clips on like the super like hardcore military sims unless it's like a comedic thing happening. So how can you think like how do you strike that balance between the spectacle and the realism to have an engaging game that also therefore gets people interested?
I think at least with our game, this might be NASCAR's larger issue as well. Is that when I see a snipe in Call of Duty, I'm like, oh, that was sick, or like a 360.
Yeah.
Like when I see it in Fortnite, it might not land the same with me because I played Fortnite before. I don't know how difficult that is. And I think there's so many driving games out there that you might see just the craziest clips, like Grand Theft Auto. You might see a car go flipping over and like crazy maneuver, land back on his wheels, and you're like, okay, maybe that's normal. I have no idea. But in our world, I don't think a lot of people put themselves in race cars before, and they don't know what's difficult in a real race car, what's difficult in the video game. So until they've played the game themselves, it's either got to be like just outlandishly crazy and funny to be viral in that situation, or get everybody to play the game. And I don't think the second one's possible. Just like not everybody can hop in a race car and find a way to do that and understand just
exactly
how our sport really is. Our sport's hard. Yeah. It doesn't look hard on TV. I would not be a racing fan if I didn't grow up doing it. It just looks stupid on TV if you've never been to a race or don't understand like what makes it difficult.
Gotcha. No, I think that makes sense. So then with the game itself, I'm curious, is there any dream features or updates, whatever, that you like to see in future iterations or be added to the current game?
I wonder, it probably all takes away from the core biz, like the core of the game, but like whether you can create your own track or
that would be cool.
Little stuff like that. Yeah, I think just for user uploadability would be cool, because that's what makes it a little different, I think, than iRacing. If you're just playing the same tracks, like here are your Cup Series tracks, here's your Truck Series tracks, and they just stick to the book, I think that's cool a little bit. But they also just, I'm hoping they just make the damage better. I've been saying that since like day one. I'm like, man, it doesn't look fun to crash, and that's like half of racing video games.
Yeah, there's a great game that's on PC called BeamNG. I don't know if you've ever played it. Yeah, BeamNG has it has one of the best like physics destruction based systems for vehicles that I've got to experience. There's that, and there's another one that I'm drawing a blank, but it's one where it's like a demolition.
Talking about,
but yeah, those two have incredible destruction physics. But BeamNG, I just like how you can go and create your own maps and drive around, and people come up with outlandish things. But I guess sticking in the sports realm, but kind of a different sport, do you ever see esports and NASCAR fitting into one, like having NASCAR game be fit into the esports competitive world?
They did it with the NASCAR Heat game, because I was working PR and marketing at that time full time for a Cup Series team. We had a draft. We drafted people, but the game was so insanely just not realistic that it didn't ever connect with the community. The iRacing stuff does. So unfortunately, I feel like if it does connect at the high level, it 100% should be on the full iRacing platform, because it's so real. And like the people that do that stuff well, maybe a quarter of them could hop into a real race car and do phenomenal. And that's meant to be a compliment, not an insult. It's like, it's the fact that it's that realistic and you could get in the real thing means something. So to me, about somehow finding a way to connect with a larger audience, because I watch the Call of Duty streams. I'm like, that's pretty cool. Like they're really, really freaking good. But it looks easy, then nobody will watch.
Correct.
Yeah.
It's tough to crack into being a true esport game, though. That's the problem. I think esports needs to figure out a way to get a little bit of the ancillary type games that are really hot into it, because it's just seems like it's the same for esports games that get
Yeah.
the esports title.
I agree.
Yeah.
Because
So-
I follow the NHL a lot. Like I don't feel like their esports stuff ever really got traction. Like I know they're
No.
pushing at teams have their own players, but I'm like, I don't think anybody's really watching this. So it ended pretty quickly.
I feel like out of all the sports games, you hear the most about Madden getting like big tournaments. I think Madden just has that huge fan base, and there's so many people going and competing at a high level and winning huge monetary prizes. So, I hope for the sake of like sports games and others, it starts to kind of move into that. Bombay says the card system in NHL, I am not a fan of. I don't know if you have any thoughts about the card system in NHL.
Yeah. Stop playing because they're just like, give us more money kind of thing.
It's the same way with the Madden now. You have to buy the cards and build a team.
It's fun until everybody has better cards, and you're like, I guess I got to spend $10,000 just like everybody else. I'm like, I'm just not going to do that. I'm just going to play whatever online basic features I got.
But just to circle back, the reason why Madden picked up is when John Madden was still alive. He's the one that started the tournaments across the cities, across the country. That's the only reason why Madden, the football game, kind of gained the traction that it did over other sports games, because John Madden, the person, was promoting that.
Yeah, Dale Jr. is doing what he can with this game, but it's going to take more than that. You got to get a larger than life personality, I think.
Yeah. So for fans who only know racing through gaming, what misconceptions do you think they have about real racing?
That we pee your pants in the car. I know that's one.
Wait, you really?
No, I'm saying that they believe that. Yeah, I'm like, man, I can't sleep for like a full day after these races. We're so dehydrated. The heat, I always go back to that. Like people just have no idea how physically tasking these races are. I played college hockey. I still play men's league and did CrossFit for a while and burned 600, 700 calories in like any of those activities. And like I literally have my stats from the other day, which wasn't even that hot of a race. It was October in Las Vegas, and I think I burned 4,000 calories in the race.
Wow.
Like it's the equivalent of like running a marathon, like, but you're sitting in a race car because it's 140 degrees. You're being mentally, physically tasked. It's absolutely insane how dead we are after every race. Like I try to eat everything I can before, after, and I'm just generally dying no matter what I do. I hydrate well.
That's so interesting.
Yeah, it sucks.
It's funny because I've always defended NASCAR in this sense.
Probably can't see it. 4,649 calories on Saturday.
That's that's 2 days worth of an average intake.
Yeah, it's not fun for your body to go through that. It feels like the worst hangover of your life because you're so dehydrated after.
Yeah.
But it's funny, I've defended NASCAR because there's always been that, is playing a video game a sport? And and they give, it's eye-hand coordination. Well, look at NASCAR, all it is eye-hand. And I'm like, do you know what kind of physical, stress their body goes through? Like, that is a sport that is more physical than most sports than you think.
Yeah,
and
my
people
neck
just don't get it.
30 races in right now, and my neck is still destroyed from the weekend. My core, spine, all the stabilizing muscles, still dehydrated, dead tired. Like it's like playing a video game in a sauna, but like also being challenged on an assault bike at the same time. But like we took all of those things and then threw it on a merry-go-round that's just going however many miles an hour. So you're physically, mentally exhausted. The heat's killing you. It literally feels like hell every time you're in the car. You're like, why am I doing this? This is not fun. You just love competing.
That's the other thing I've told people. You don't know what 190 miles is until you see it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because, yeah, I've been on the turnpike doing 90 miles an hour, but 190, until you see that whiz by at a race, like you can't fathom what 190 is. And I couldn't even pretend to imagine what it would be like being behind the wheel at 190.
Yeah, you don't realize how fast you're going till you hit the red and stop, as they say. When you find the walls, that's when you realize how fast you're going. But I have people that do the NASCAR racing experience stuff, and they're like, "Man, I get it now. We're going." And they're like, "Oh, okay. What was your lap time?" And they'll say, "Oh, I hit 140." Like that's 20 to 30 miles an hour less than our minimum speed. So, like, as fast as it felt to that person, it's the same gap to get to our actual speed. So if like they felt like this is their norm, that's where they were at, and this is crazy. It's like 2x that.
Correct.
And then add 37 psychopaths out there, and times be raced by 60, and that's what you're actually fighting against.
Sure.
So I'm curious, with like your reaction times and hand-eye coordination, do you feel those skills transferring over to video games when you play like a Call of Duty, a Battlefield? Like, are you able to quickly flick on someone like faster because of the sport?
Yeah, this is a humble brag, but it's kind of a brag about drivers in general. They tested 10,000 athletes. I have to figure out the name of it. It's a watch company, and we got tested at Daytona a year ago. It was fighter pilots, like military people, college athletes, NFL players. The top 10 scores in their thing, like in their measurement of reaction time, were all the 10 drivers they measured that day.
Wow.
That's crazy.
I was number one. I was number one.
That's awesome.
Beat everybody. And it was like I was like, I don't believe it. And I did it twice or 3 times, and I was like, I beat him each time. So I was so proud of that. But I truthfully believe that video games help me in the race car.
Nice.
Because it's your peripheral vision. It is continuing to help with your reaction time, rather than sit there with like all the drivers do and do the stupid button games and all that. Like, let's go play Call of Duty.
Yeah.
Like, I'll figure it out. I'm old, so I need to do something to keep me young.
What's your KD ratio in COD?
Relatively good, but I don't remember what it is now. I haven't played in so long. Back when they actually had that COD tracker, whatever it was, like I knew that.
Yeah.
I was in the top 4%, which is not like crazy, but for the amount of time I've spent on that game. But I was proud of it.
Now,
That's
this is
awesome.
this is a little bit of an inside that the rest won't know, but I hear Jonathan lights you up all the time, though.
Yeah, Jonathan's literally. I don't even know how he manages to turn his system on. He is so bad at every game we play.
That's awesome.
We played that Ready or Not game. He puts the riot shield loadout on, but he puts the riot shield on the wrong side of him every time, and he doesn't know why it dies. I'm like, why? It doesn't work on both sides. You got to hold it in front of you.
That's not what I hear, Ryan. I hear he lights you up.
I'm sure.
Yeah, he does. Yeah, if he's my teammate and there's friendly fire on, he lights me up. He's not lying.
I'm sure he's in the chat. I know Nate's in the chat, so I'm sure they will be chirping. But yeah, you know, my humble brag is right now on. My humble brag right now is on Battlefield 6. My KD's sitting at 1.87, I think. So I'm doing pretty good with it at the moment.
All right, here I got my KD up.
And then
I don't know.
he's gonna say like 3.2, and I'm gonna be like, I'm just gonna walk out.
No, I'm
okay, pretty good.
According to COD.
3's good. Oh, nice.
And then Bombay in the chat says Pocono NASCAR. Oop. I think we're losing you.
Oh, me?
Yeah. But for you, Dad, Bombay in the chat says the Pocono NASCAR experience, we can do it.
Yep, it's actually fun. I've seen it. Ryan, I think you're checking your COD scores and it's bringing down your internet.
Or Jonathan's DDoSing you right now because of the comments.
You're back on.
I'm good. Okay, all right. Yeah, I think it actually did kill me.
Yeah.
Timed out. But yeah, I'm gonna just assume like at best John's a 0 5. Like, there's no way he's above a 0.637.
That's funny as
There's
hell.
like dives.
Nate says, "Someone get me a beer." LOL. But yeah, I think, that's all the questions I had kind of related around the NASCAR game, your involvement, what iRacing really does, what they did, and just the game itself. Dad, do you have any more questions for any of this?
I really don't. I think it was one of our best guests we have on here, because I really like, and I said it in the beginning and I'll say it in closing, that I wanted people to get to know, again, you, Ryan, more than just a NASCAR driver, because I always look and say that there's video games transcends everybody. Like, I don't care if you're a professional NASCAR driver or you're stocking the shelves at Walmart. Like, I think video games brings everybody together. It's been the father-son thing for us that we still bond over. I'm 57, he's 25. We still bond over it. We still play competitive, and we still fight. Go back and watch our NASCAR. We were arguing through the whole thing. So I just like video games. And it resonates with me. The professional video game player we had on said that around the world, video games is part of the culture. The United States is still a little behind, where they think video games are for, children, and professional people like myself shouldn't be playing video games. And it's not. And part of the reason why I agreed with my son to do this is I want that stigma to be lifted, because you can be a professional. I wear a suit and tie every day, and I can go out and still play video games when I come home to relax. I'm not a drinker. I don't gamble. I'm not, out womanizing. I come home to relax, and it's my video games that lets me relax, so there is something to it. So, and we're always been about family. Families was video games that brought our family together and keeps our family together. So, but I appreciate you taking the time.
Yes, greatly appreciate it.
I brought one of those game systems just to be able to play video games on the road a few years ago, and it was like, I could either go to the bar and waste money and do that stuff and get into trouble, or I could just sit here and chill, be happy.
And there's so many great games out. Like we always say, there's a game for everybody nowadays. Like if you say like, I can't find something, I don't think you're looking. Like there's just so much content out there, and like especially in 2025, the amount of games that have come out this year that are bangers, it's insane. So there's something for everyone, and even like someone who's as busy as you can still find time to play. Like it's just a great hobby to be in.
100%. Yeah, it's my peace of mind at the end of the night.
Yeah. And then there's also a game out there that you can relate with your daughter or with your son or with your wife. That's what we like about it, is there's so many types of games that you can pick one that's not, hey, I'm going to be shooting these people with my daughter and I can't bond with her. You can go on to Mario Kart and do that. That's what we love about it.
Bluey. We got the Bluey video game.
Exactly.
Yeah, the Bluey, exactly. It's funny. I just picked up the Rudolph. It's Rudolph Red-Nosed Reindeer. The claymations you grew up on?
Yep.
It's actually a video game that's playing the claymation. So there's everything for everybody. It's for the Switch. I got my wife. Get it for the Switch.
It comes out this week too.
Yeah.
Get that. I'm gonna literally put that in my phone right now.
Yeah, it was $39.
Another game that I recommend for co-op, either with one of your children or the wife, It Takes Two and Split Fiction. If you haven't played those, like they are incredible co-op games. It is split screen and they're very fun stories. Very kid friendly. Especially Split Fiction came out this year. It's it's essentially two writers. One's a sci-fi writer, one's a fantasy writer, and they get shot into their worlds, and you're exploring their worlds that they wrote, and you are kind of going along this adventure as this corporation is trying to steal their ideas, but you get to see their ideas realized and get to go through them as a game. It's very fun.
That's wild.
And one of the things that Kobe and I are big advocates on with the video game industry is bring back couch co-op. Like that's to sit down and do co-op split screen, like that was lost. It's a lost art, and it's starting to come back. You're starting to see it. Nintendo does very well with it, but like more games need to bring back that couch co-op.
Yep, I agree. When they first started getting rid of that, we had like 5 TVs in one of the houses I had in college. We're all sitting in the same room and just, make sure we weren't staring at each other's screen.
Yep.
And we realized that was like the beginning of the end there.
LAN parties, absolutely.
Yep.
My friend, in my basement, I have a big screen TV, and I used to play, and my friend used to come up to play with me, and I bought a separate big screen TV I'd keep in storage that I'd roll it out in front of him so he didn't have to look at my screen. So we'd have 2 big screens on a couch down there playing. So I get it 100%.
That actually brings up a good point. Half the reason John's really bad, Richmar John, is so bad at video games because he plays in his multi-million-dollar movies.
In his theater, there's too much latency. I've been in the theater.
Yeah.
Too much latency.
Yeah, I played in that thing. I'm terrible at
Yeah.
it. I'm like, John, you might actually be halfway decent if you just got a gaming monitor, but we'll never know. So, it was impossible to play on.
For Kobe's, must have been, 8th birthday, maybe? You ever see the big video screens that are at NASCAR, like outside the video screens?
Yep.
Well, I helped start a company with that that did those screens. And Kobe, for one of his birthday parties, we had it outside, and I had them bring in the big tractor trailer and we put the big screen and we played Gears of War on it. But the latency was so bad on it. But again, it's one of those things. I agree. Jonathan needs to get on a TV or a monitor.
Yeah.
Nate Edwards in the chat said a few things. First off, he said Nate is claiming his best KD ever was 2.1. And then he said in NASCAR, Kevin won 4-3, right? And I said, hell no, it's tied.
I did. I won.
No, those are lies. Then he says, go Flyers. And then GoldenEye is the OG split screen. So
I agree.
That's true. Yeah.
64, Nintendo 64. Absolutely. But
good days.
we don't want to keep any more than this, Ryan. You've graced us with
Yes.
an hour and a half of your time. Greatly appreciate it. We wish you the best of luck in your next race in this season. You've been
if you
Kobe
want to
and I,
plug,
you've become our favorite driver. So
and if you want to plug, if you want to plug yourself, where you at, socials, do the whole 9 yards. Tell us where you're going to be racing, anything upcoming. Plug it all here.
I am terrible at it because, like I said, just in the last year, I've gotten terrible at social media. I forget to post, but at Ryan Ellis Racing on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. I've not gotten a TikTok. I think I actually have an account, but I have never used it. And yeah, tune in this weekend, Saturday. I think the race is around 3:30 or 4. Racing at Talladega, so it's as big of a race as it gets. We got an in-car camera. We got a full Ricky Bobby Talladega Nights throwback scheme. So I'll be committed to the Will Ferrell ones this weekend.
What networks is that going to be streamed on?
On the CW, and you can watch it on the Tableau. It's over my shoulder there. Tableau is our largest sponsor, and they are a great way to find any kind of OTA channel, including the CW. Awesome. So all of our races.
It was funny when Kobe and I just streamed the NASCAR. I pulled out every Ricky Bobby, line that you could during the whole thing. So favorite movie.
I gotta learn them all. I'll be watching it multiple times this week.
You're gonna wake up tomorrow and say, I wake up every morning, piss excellent. So
yep, exactly. I got it. That one amongst all the other ones. I just gotta hope I make it long enough in the race to say a few of them and not crash.
Well, I do wish you the best of luck with the race this upcoming weekend. And once again, thank you for hopping on the Father and Son Gaming Podcast. And I'd like to thank each and every one of you who have watched today and tuned in. To everyone who joins in later and watches this video on demand, thank you. As always, you can follow us on all of our socials, Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok. We are at Active Reload Gaming. Also on Blue Sky, we are at Active Reload Gaming. Twitter and Twitch, we are at Active Rel. That is with an REL. Rel Gaming. We are live every Monday, 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific with the Father and Son Gaming Podcast. Along with this, during the week, we will be streaming some games, whether it's just me, my dad, and I combined. I think it'd be really funny if my dad just streamed on his own, but that's an undertaking to try to get it happen. With that, I hope everyone has a...
do want to thank Richmar for sponsoring this podcast. Thank you very much. Go to richmarflorist.com, best florist in the country.
And with that, I'd like to thank each and every one of you and have a great rest of your week. Peace all.